Delighted to welcome to the stage Darren Leigh, Chief Executive Officer at Unipart. The presentation is today's partnerships for tomorrow's supply chain. Warm welcome for Darren, please. Thank you.
Good morning. Some of you, and hopefully many of you, will recognise Unipart as a supply partner within your sector. Whether that's aerospace, technology, rail, e-commerce and retail, healthcare, or of course automotive, where Unipart started out as a division of British Leyland. However, not many of you may know much about what Unipart actually does. So for those of you who don't, Unipart is a 1 billion turnover British company with international operations. We're a team of more than 12,000 people applying 50 years of expertise and supply chain assurance to help hundreds of customers, including Sky, JLR, Network Rail and Airbus. In 2024, we have never been more committed to partnering with Britain's great industries to help them perform and become more productive. We're the largest provider of logistics services to the NHS, and we have been for 5 years and throughout the pandemic. We operate from 45 UK locations and another 40 locations overseas in 20 countries, supporting our customers' global supply chains. We have a strong track record of delivering continuous improvement and added value for our customers. And we also maintain world-class safety, sustainability and well-being standards as recognised by the British Safety Council. Our approach has always been to build meaningful long-term partnerships with customers. So it's a genuine honour to follow Ninian Wilson, who was on earlier from Vodafone and kicked off today's proceedings. This year, Unipart celebrated the 25th anniversary of serving Vodafone and their customers. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Vodafone for their continued trust in our partnership, Ninian. Our unique position in our 7 core sectors is a result of how we've reinvented ourselves over the last 5 decades. And that's in response to and anticipating market trends. And it means we've had the opportunity to work with a diverse range of partners to deliver a broad suite of supply chain product services and solutions. We also collaborate a lot with academia, industry, government and funding bodies to develop and scale new technologies. And equally as important, we also use those partnerships to identify and nurture the next generation of talent. And having started out myself on a YTS at the age of 16 as an apprentice, this is something that I feel really passionate about. Today, I'm going to focus on the importance of supply chain partnerships. Since Unipart was established 50 years ago this year, that's what this pin's for, supply chains have evolved. They've gone from a transactional model to a business partnering model. We heard a little bit about that earlier. Like many CEOs, my background is in finance. And I've lived through a similar shift towards finance business partnering over the last 3 decades. Our partnership focus today needs to be much more strategic and commercial. Supply chains have traditionally been forged by well-meaning procurement and sales teams haggling over price and quality. And that's one reason that they extended across the world, particularly to China. And price, of course, is always going to be important. But while globalization has created opportunities, it now also brings significant challenges and risks. And meanwhile, our customers still expect the same level of service from us, if not better. But we're in a world increasingly affected by conflict, by rising costs, and by labor shortages. And these disruptions undermine your relationship with your customer, and they're expensive. Research by The Economist found that supply chain disruption costs an average of 6 to 10% of revenue, which for most companies wipes out their entire profit. Only those organizations who work in partnership to make supply chains more efficient, more resilient, and more sustainable will remain competitive and survive in the long term. Let me give you an example of making a supply chain more efficient through the lens of productivity, which has long been an issue in the UK. Last month, a House of Commons report found that UK productivity is now up to 18% lower than the US, Germany and France. Unipart has taught many customers how to improve their productivity using our own approach. It engages people at every level of the organisation to challenge the status quo and to strive for continuous improvement and operational excellence. And you might say, so what? Everybody's doing that nowadays. Well, maybe. The difference is, at Unipart, we actually do it. We have the culture and the framework in place to execute on this promise. And it's been developed and cultivated over 5 decades. It's called the Unipart Way, and it's at the heart of everything we do. The Unipart Way is how we engage our people to deliver operational excellence and outstanding customer service. It's demonstrated in the way our 12,000 colleagues think, work and behave. And it's why our workforce is statistically 3 times more actively engaged than the average UK company. Inefficient processes, a lack of useful data, missed deadlines, high employee attrition, and employees distracted from value-adding activities were among the list of issues that the London Business School approached us with. Without intervention, the successful delivery of 400 courses a year was under threat. Applying the Unipart Way, our consultants helped our customer to transform their performance by equipping their workforce with the tools, skills, and ultimately with the desire needed to drive continuous improvement. Feedback from their employees following the transformation found that they better understood their roles with the course delivery process, and every single one knew their milestones and where to go for support. Ultimately, this led to a 170% increase in the number of courses published on time last year. Supply chain resilience is something else you'll hear a lot about over the next 2 days, and rightly so. A 2022 report from a Deloitte supply chain panel found that 3 out of 4 respondents rate supply chain resilience as important in their company. Flexibility, agility, and collaboration were identified as the key characteristics of a resilient supply chain. So let me give you an example that demonstrates flexibility, agility, and collaboration leading to increased supply chain resilience. Unipart has been McLaren Automotive's supply chain partner for more than 12 years. This summer, McLaren had a very significant supply chain problem. One of their critical parts suppliers was severely distressed. Based in Portsmouth, the business formerly known as Formaplex provided McLaren with polymer and composite parts and solutions. But they'd suffered a very turbulent 3 or 4 years, falling in and out and back into administration. Formaplex were one of the few remaining premium polymer injection moulding specialists in the UK supply chain, and more than 240 jobs were at risk. Unipart's heritage in the automotive sector, our manufacturing capability, our approach to partnership, and our ability to move at pace meant we were able to help. Within a few weeks, and it was only a few weeks, of discovering the challenge, Unipart acquired the business, McLaren's supply chain was secured, and a key UK capability within the automotive and aerospace sectors was retained. My point is that only through agility, flexibility, and collaboration can we all work to increase supply chain resilience in future. The importance McLaren placed on maintaining a local supply chain leads me to the final point that I'd like to cover this morning: sustainability. According to McKinsey, 90% of a company's impact on the environment comes from their supply chain. 90%. Unipart has always placed enormous value on sustainability. We have a long track record for world-class sustainability as recognised by the British Safety Council, and our customers also benefit from that. For example, when Sky asked Unipart to remove plastic from their supply chain as part of their ocean rescue campaign, we eliminated hundreds of tons of packaging from their logistics operation within just a few months. When the UN escalated the urgency with which we should all respond to the climate crisis by launching their Race to Zero campaign, Unipart immediately signed up. Furthermore, we cemented that commitment by setting ambitious greenhouse gas reduction targets validated by the SBTi last year. And only last week, I announced the appointment of a full-time CSO at Unipart to help drive our sustainability agenda. By 2040, Unipart will achieve net zero. And this means working with customers, suppliers, and partners throughout the entire length of our supply chain to also help reduce their emissions as well. And we are on track. Customers and suppliers working in partnership will be crucial to achieve this. Additionally, we're also investing in our own R&D to create practical products, services, and solutions for our customers. Through our innovative Eco Insight energy and carbon monitoring product, we're reducing emissions and saving money for ourselves, but also for a host of customers across our 7 sectors. But sustainability is not only about the environment, it's also about people. Unipart has a long-standing commitment to world-class health and safety. We have more than 65 Swords of Honour awarded to Unipart by the British Safety Council over the last 3 decades. We hold more Swords of Honour than any other company, and it's a fact that we're really rather quite proud of. Everyone who works at or visits a Unipart site, whether it's ours or one that's owned by our customers, can be certain that their safety and well-being is our top priority. Our team of health and safety professionals ensure that the systems and processes are in place to maintain that standard. And among our own people, we now have more than 200 mental health first aiders actively safeguarding the well-being of their colleagues. So I hope these examples I've shared with you today have demonstrated why strong and long-lasting partnerships are so crucial to building efficient, resilient, and sustainable supply chains. Furthermore, if we want to be competitive in 10 years' time, partnerships between customers and suppliers, between industry and academia, and between government and business need to be forged today. And I'm not the first person to tell you the world is changing fast. We've already heard it twice already today. And I won't be the last person to tell you that. But if you remember one thing from this brief session, it's this. We all need to collaborate more. We need to work in partnership to best seize the opportunities that are out there. And I believe that there are some fantastic opportunities out there to be seized. So I look forward to meeting as many of you as possible throughout the day to discuss how we can best collaborate and build these partnerships. I've got meetings lined up already with some of you, but if you want to find out more about how Unipart can help make your supply chain more efficient, resilient, and sustainable, please come and see me afterwards or catch up with me during the day. I've got a number of my Unipart colleagues here with me today, and you can visit us all on stand H5. There's also a workshop on the future of procurement and supply chain ecosystems, which is being run by the Unipart consultancy team, Chris Dixon and James Stanley at 1:30, and I'll also be there as well. I look forward to meeting also the winner of the Future Leader Award when I present it later today. Thank you all for your attention.
Darren, thank you very much indeed. We are slightly pushed for time, so we're going to have to move on from Q&A. But as you say, if people do want to have a chat, stop by the stand and chat to you through in today. Darren, thank you ever so much for joining us. Thank you.